Yes, Divya, you are audible.
Okay.
Yes, you're audible.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome
Good
to
evening.
today's virtual session hosted by the Association of Kennedy Chartered Accountants. We are thrilled to have you join us for this insightful discussion on AI in accounting, unlocking efficiency and insight for chartered accountants. Today, we will explore how artificial intelligence can be leveraged by chartered accountants to simplify their work and enhance their decision-making processes. In this session, we will delve into the transformative impact of AI tools such as ChatGPT on the accounting profession. We will explore how chartered accountants can harness AI to automate routine tasks, generate data-driven insights, streamline reporting, and support strategic decision making. Additionally, we will address the essential risks, ethical concerns, and governance practices required for responsible AI use. Whether you are curious about AI or already exploring its potential, this session promises to provide valuable insight for everyone. For this insightful session, we are honored to have with us Professor Engineering Kamalanath Samrakon, a distinguished expert in computer engineering with over 30 years of experience in engineering, automation, and intelligent systems. He is a chartered engineer in Sri Lanka and the UK and a fellow of the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka and a senior member of IEEE USA and IET UK. He was a senior lecturer in the Department of Computer Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, University of Peradeniya. He held administrative position, namely head of the Department of Computer Engineering and Director of Engineering Education Unit and the Director of Engineering Technology Incubation Center. Prior to joining the university, Professor Kamalnath served in the Electricity Board for 15 years as an electrical engineer and chief engineer in Mahavali hydro power plants. There, he conducted research to develop computer-based data acquisition systems for power plant control and instrumentation system. This research received National Science and Technology Award from His Excellency, the President of Sri Lanka, and engineer DJ Vimala Surendra Award from the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka. At the senior level of CEB, Professor Kamalanath was in charge of IT and computer applications of all hydropower plants in Sri Lanka and developed IT policies and applications for maintenance, management, and inventory management of power plants. In addition, Professor Kamalanath received the award for the best engineering postgraduate research in 2012 from University Grant Commission and the Excellent Achievement Award from the International Center for Computerization of Japan. Without further delay, I would like to invite Professor Engineer Kamalanath Samarakon to share his insights on how AI can be integrated into the accounting profession. Professor, the platform is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Divya. I hope you can hear me. And thank you very much for your extensive introduction. And also, I would like to thank all of you for giving this opportunity for me to present something I learned about AI to all of you. So let's start the discussion, and I hope Ms. Divya can moderate the questions. I will, we'll see how we can help chartered accountant to use AI. But before going into that extent, I would like to discuss a little bit about the background, because when we are doing something, we should have a solid foundation. So one thing, why AI and why now? Because AI is not a new thing, because machine intelligence has been in discussion since 1940s, and all of a sudden all of us were exposed to AI, but the computing people have been doing research heavily on AI for long. The reason for the recent expansion or the explosion of AI is the development of computing power. So you can see here this NVIDIA CEO is holding a chip, and you can see a large, large figure here. So they are the ones now used for this AI model training. So because of this new computing power, and also the recent breakthrough from different algorithms, particularly this the paper you can see at the left hand side. Attention is all you need. Okay, it's open paper, you can download and see. So these are the main points why this new generative AI came into the picture. So we'll discuss a little bit about AI first. So we are going to discuss today what is intelligent in general and AI, and what is Gen AI for generative AI, and why it matters to accountants, and tools, use cases, risk, and ethics. So I was planning to do some hands-on, but depending on the way we conduct this, we'll see how we can do that. But at least we can discuss the remaining sections. So, what is intelligence? Now, it's a capability of human. First, one thing is discover. So the human can discover new information, and also human can infer. That is, read information that are not explicitly stated. And the third point is human can reason if it is not if something is not explicitly stated, but seen there are some things that seems to be not relevant to each other, but we can figure out uh, 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 some connection between different things. So reasoning is also there. So these are the kind of the ways we can say what is intelligent, and different people they explain intelligence in different ways. So Albert Einstein says it's the imagination, and Stephen Hawking says it's a ability to change. And this is what I like. Jean Piaget say, intelligence is what you use when you don't know what to do. It's different people. They say they define intelligence in different ways. But nowadays, we are talking about the generative AI, and now here you can see three different AI definitions. So one is narrow AI, general AI, and super AI. So when we say something like AI, we think that AI is something super AI. So that is the machines have the intelligence. But actually, we are here actually between narrow AI and the general AI. We are not yet close to general AI. General AI means the the capability of humans to the capabilities of humans uh, with the computers. Right? So we are not yet there. So we just passing the narrow AI era. So let's define what is generative AI. Here you can see artificial intelligence is a broad cover. We have a lot of definitions there. It's a general term. And here we have this expert system. I will come to that later. And then later on, we got something called machine learning, and then deep learning, and then now we are talking about generative AI. Right? So we'll try to discuss uh, what are they. So little bit of history. So in 1940s, I think some of you might have seen this gentleman, Alan Turing, uh, who worked during the Second World War to break uh, the Germans' encrypted codes, right? And he has developed a machine, and he's one of the pioneers of the field. Now, why he is important to us is he defined a Turing test, defined a test called Turing test to recognize whether a machine has intelligence or not. So how he define it is, if we have an interrogator and asking question, same question from a person and also a computer, and this interrogator does not know where is the computer and where is the human. But if the interrogator cannot recognize which one is the computer, then we consider that computer passed the Turing test. Right? So that is what is defined. What is the Turing test. Okay. And then in 1950s, the machine learning comes into the picture, but I mean not in the current form. They develop algorithms to play a game called checkers, and it's a kind of searching mechanism, searching tree, by giving marks, so that the machine can automatically find the best positioning. So, but the limit, because the memory is not sufficient at that time, they could not go very deep. But they tried this and machine learning methods. And there was a winter from 1970 to 80s because of the limited computing power, and then a decrease of funding, and there were some philosophical and ethical issues people raise. And then again, from 1980s to 1987, there's a boom where we have the expert system, uh, and the expert systems are made by the rules. I will show to that to you. And special programming languages also made, like Lisp and Prolog. So expert system is something what you can understand here. It is if then rules. So if the car is dead, the action is check the fuel tank. Then, if the step one is complete, the fuel tank is full, the action is check the battery. So, these are the knowledge that people have. So, they embed that into the program and develop expert system. So, one of the first expert systems are the mycene, that is to treat blood infection using about 500 rules. uh, so that is what we learned when we about the AI at that time in 1980, 1990s. But it came in 1970s, this MyC. And then from 1985 I mean 2000, world champion was beaten by a computer. The chess champion at that time, Gary Kasparov, was beaten by a computer developed as an expert system. Then again, there was a winter from 1987 to 2000. And then later on, we got this autonomous vacuum cleaners, autonomous self-driving cars, and then Watson question answering system in 2011. But from 2017 onwards, we have this uh, new AI, and generally it was called machine learning. Machine learning means the computers can learn without explicit programming, and we break into three areas: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So I'll briefly explain what is it. But in all those machine learnings, what we do is we take a lot of data and develop a model and find out how much they are accurate. Then the what exactly we meant by supervised learning is, now say as an example, we have certain fruits and we can label those fruits as tomato or carrot or bell pepper, and we give these uh, pictures and also the label to the model. And once you have trained the model, we can give test data or the actual data, and the model can predict what is the incoming picture, whether it's a carrot, bell pepper, or tomato. So we call it supervised learning because we label them, right? So basically, that was this kind of thing was done using statistical methods. So I'm not going to discuss any of the algorithms, but some statistical methods. Then it is purely mathematics. Everything that we are discussing, they are mathematical models. Then unsupervised learning, we don't. The difference is we don't label the incoming raw data, but algorithms, mathematical algorithms, identify their characteristics and group them into different categories, so that we can identify each category as a different type of fruit. So in this case, a vegetable. So here there are some mistakes also, right? Because the shape is almost, it's not green bell pepper, but different one, red one, right? But others are okay. So these are unlabeled. So because of that unlabeled thing, we call unsupervised. We are not involving in the labeling process. The next one is reinforcement learning. It's a kind of algorithm where how this small baby work, uh, because when a baby is hungry and he was crawling, and then all of a sudden he found a milk bottle, and now it's a reward, so he tends to go in that direction. So reinforcement learning is we have a mechanism to reward or punish in the its algorithm, so that finally we get a refined model, right? So that's the reinforcement learning. Then later on, we got this neural network, which is inspired by human brain. So in a neuron, we have this kind of arrangement. We have dendrites in one hand, and then axon, the connection, and then output. So basically, input, the link, and the output. So researchers use this the arrangement of the human nerve or neuron, and develop a mathematical model. It's a simple model where you have the inputs and uh, give a give a output. It's a single output, either one or zero. So based on the values that received by the this node, the output will activate or not activate. So it's the fundamental of the neural network. So we talk a lot about neural networks because neural network is a fundamental model or the item that we use in the recent AI models. So it's this is a simple mathematical equation in a node where you have the several nodes and the weightages, and also we have a bias and we have an activation function, and depending on the activation function there will be output or not. So these are simple artificial neural network. It's a mathematical model again. So this is one example. Here you can see uh, one example where you have this is a character recognition example. You got a lot of black areas and white areas. So this input 784 pixels are given into the as the input, and depending on the relationship, the system will recognize whether the handwritten character is 0, 1, 2, like that. So that is the neural network. And then we got deep learning. The term deep learning is again it's an extension of artificial neural network, because instead of having input layer and output layer, we have multiple hidden layers. So this was possible because we got a lot of computing power in the recent past. So that earlier the model was there, but people could not implement it. So deep learning is using artificial neural network again with multiple hidden layers. So this is one of the examples. Here we give a picture of a cat and it recognizes it as a cat. And then we give pictures of cat, dog. So once the model is trained, it will give output as the cat. So if the output is dog, it's wrong. So we do the back propagation and change the parameters or the weightages of these connections so that the output will be cat. So that is how these algorithms are working. So far we have discussed now something to predict, right? So we call them as predictive models. But recently, because of the new algorithms and the computing power, people came up with generative AI model. Again, these generative AI models are using the the deep learning networks, but we call transformer architecture, uh, and the difference between the previous machine learning models and the new generative AI model is predictive model, or sometimes we call discriminative models, identify the input based on the labels. But in the generative AI models, we give an input, we train the model, and the model learn the patterns inside the data and output, and this output will be a new content. It's not a content that we know before. It's completely new because it uses the model trained based on the input that we have given, but the output is, I mean, it depends on the patterns. It depends, it does not depend on the actual relationships. It's depend on the pattern. So output will be a new content. So the generative AI is the one we are talking about, like ChatGPT and other generative models. Large number of tools are there now. People are doing a lot of research on that, and a lot of things are coming up. But we have to, our aim is to use them for the betterment of, I mean, to improve our efficiency, our work of work, improve the efficiency of our work, and but to do that, we should understand the how it works. So this is again what I said. We were discussing about discriminative techniques where we identify different groups, but in the new and generative techniques, we are generating new images, right? Or generate new text. It's not from the directly from the data that we have. So whatever the output that you got from the generative AI like ChatGPT, it's not from a single source. It uses the model trained by existing data, but the output will not be from a single place. So nobody can tell that where these results came from. And how they have done is the generative AI, mainly the ChatGPT and OpenAI models. It's not a big thing. I mean, it's a breakthrough, but they have the model and they use the data, all the data on the internet to train the model. So, and it took a lot of time and a lot of power, electric power, uh, to develop or train the model. Uh, and the data available on the internet were I mean, refined and then used to generate the model. So one thing I can ask you, I mean, to give some input, I mean, idea about the generative AI, or the because this ChatGPT, it's giving output as a word. I mean, that is the first thing we got. So say as an example, if we say, I mean, if you can respond also, that's much better. Uh, if we ask to complete the word, don't cry for, can someone say what will be the next word? Don't cry for. Okay, I didn't get any answer. So if it is don't cry for, so the answer is something like spilled milk. Don't cry for spilled milk. But if you ask the question, I mean, ask to complete the sentence called "Don't cry for me," can't see any answers. So most probably it could be "Don't cry for me" adjective, right? So this is what exactly the generative AI does. So it has a lot of words in its model. You give some input, we call it prompt, and it will find the next word. And then with the next word, the generative AI use the part of the sentence that he derived and go to the model again and find the next word. So that is what generative AI model does. And that is the, you can say it is the, that is the only thing that generative AI can do in most of the cases, right? There are some additions are there, but basically what it does is it look for the next word, best next word, using uh, the the data the model got from the entire internet. So you can see that it is not that uh, I mean, the very complicated thing, but I mean, as a model, it's complicated, but what you are going to get is a simple next word, right? So this is how people train the model. So what it does is it calls self-supervised learning, where get the data, the sentences, and train the model until it gets the correct output, right? So the Trevi fountain is in the center of Buenos Aires, Rome. Actually, it is in Rome. So until it get the word Rome, it trains a model. So this is one simple example. So it is called self-supervised learning. So the generative AI models use all the data on the internet to develop a model using by doing this. So this is what we call generative the develop training the model. Okay, and then we'll go into some of the examples. The you can say, this is the prompt that you are giving. All right, the fight scene of a beautiful girl fighting a fire dragon inside a ruined castle with sword, fantasy, digital 2D, highly detailed, sharp focus, and finally say art by Murat. So the computer has, now this is to asking the model to develop or generate an art, right? So we ChatGPT kind of thing that they usually generate text, but here this model generate an art. So you can see a girl, and then the fire dragons, and also the style is the style of the artist Murata. Right? Then again, sunset island, tropical paradise, palm seas. So this is the text that you are giving it. So this is text to art, right? So as I said, these things are not from internet. It's from the model that we train using the data on the internet, right? And then text to video. For example, this is again, you can, if you can see the link, you can go through. So this is the the prompt that was given is several giant woolly mammoths approach treading through a snowy meadow. So I don't know whether I can play that. Right? So this is from the text that you have given now, right? It's so you can see it, watch it. It's on the internet. So that is text to video, right? And this is one of the examples I tried when I want to do a lecture on one of the colleges in Kandy. So I tried to give this prompt. So this is what I got. So I said like it's near the Tooth Relic Temple. So this is what I got as the Tooth Relic Temple. So but it's something close, right? So that is text to image. Then text to song. There are a lot of tools in on the internet, and picture to picture, and animating pictures. So these are the things that are available, and there are a large number of tools available. Okay, but now the today topic is why it matters to the chartered accountant, because chartered accountant can use. I mean, they are using a lot of routine tasks. You can automate them, and also you are using a lot of data. You can extract insights from the data, and then also you communicate with clients regularly. You can enhance the communication, and also you can get some information from the internet and some documents, and you can improve your advisory capabilities, right? So it's really important that you can use to understand. And if you excuse me, if you know the background of it, you can use it effectively, because you know how these things are working. Okay. uh, so there are some use cases like data extractors, financial advisors advising, and then Excel spreadsheet. So I have a couple of things I found from internet. So as a data extractor, now you are working with a lot of documents, right? Say you are working with a, invoice. Now you want to get the data from the invoice for you to write a mail or for your some other reference. So you can give a prompt like extract invoice number, vendor date, due date, and total amount due. Ensure the data is accurate and match the context on invoice. So this is the prompt I gave. I mean, this example gave, and this is what you got, right? So you can upload this invoice, and it will do the e- extract the data and make it. Right? But this is very important. I will come to this point again and again and later. You have to verify because you are the one who is responsible. And also, as I said, the generative AI does not have any intelligence. What it does is it finds a next word, right? But it is so complex and so it has a lot of words, and it can use the given data inside their model. You get the reasonably good answers, but still you have to verify the output. Then uh, this is another thing that you can do. You can upload an invoice and ask it to make a table, and you can give what are the fields that you have to have in the final table. It could be date, description, so you can specify that. And then some financial analysis. So you can give the documents, you can upload them, and ask it to identify trends and patterns. Then highlight significant changes in revenue, expenses, and other financial metrics. So that will help you to take informed decisions because it will do the complete analysis for you, right? So this is the revenue analysis, and then finally it gives its own suggestions, right? Again, it's up to you to take it or leave it, but you can get the help, and then most of the time they are accurate, right? Then to calculate some financial ratios, right? So you should know how these things are uh, useful in your work. So say you can ask, uh, give certain ratios, repeat ratios, profitable ratios, solvency ratios, right? So these again, this information I got from the internet again, right? You can try. We can give the prompts. So again, the prompt is the most important thing, right? And then this example, it to make a journal entries. Suppose a company has monthly approval for doubtful accounts, so and so, and then ask it to make a journal entry. How to do the journal entry? So it will do the analysis and give an example also how to enter the transaction into the journal. So this is one another example. And also this you can use uh, Excel as a sub. I mean to get some data from the Excel. So say you have an Excel sheet, and you say what are the data that you have. You have to give the inside the data structure to the Excel sheet. And here the example, please use the following example of an Excel formula to explain how does it work. So this is to help you to learn. So it will explain how these functions are working, and also how these the internal explanation is given, how these variables are working. So you can uh, use uh, ChatGPT or generative AI model to get some help from it to learn Excel. Uh, And then you can, once you have the certain thing, then you can keep on asking. So you have a certain thing asked, it, the generative AI model has that in its memory. You can refine your question. So you can, now this question is, can you please modify the formula so it includes both north and east region? Earlier it had only in that example it's north region. So it will modify the function. right? So likewise, you can get a lot of help now nowadays. The Now that is a trend. The amount of coding is now keep on reducing, because we can ask in simple in English to generate computer programs. It will generate computer programs. So there are some, but it's up to you to decide. I mean, run it and see whether you get the correct output. So I mean, you can ask the system to generate test cases also. But now the programming and the requirement of programming is coming now. But on the other hand, we need computer programmers to do that. But it's again a problem nowadays in the industry. I mean, it's not a problem, but it's an opportunity also. Then this is another thing. Now again, using Excel, uh, you have a sales data set, and you can ask the I mean, in the previous case we did it. So the one thing you have to remember is how strong your prompt. If the prompt is very strong, the results you get is the, is more accurate, right? If you can give cell references, it will give the formula, right? You don't have to write the formula. Say, as an example, you say, okay, date is in row column A, uh, column B, you have the region. Likewise, it will generate the. So, but you have to tell that where this formula, where these variables are, right? So you can use it. And then to write email, I think you have been using this now. Say, I mean, this particular thing, basically the invoices are missing, so that particular person is really annoyed, this the person who is working on that subject. So what he want to tell is, hi John, I have remembered you about missing invoice multiple times. We can't proceed without them. Please send them as soon as possible. This is what the person want to tell. But it asks uh, ChatGPT or the generative AI model, please rewrite this in a friendly, concise, and professional tone. Right? So, I mean, you give your idea, but the ChatGPT does the remain. Right? But again, I emphasize this again. You have to read the mail, right? And you have to see whether the content is correct, because ultimately you are the one who is responsible. So, in when you are teaching, when you are training the people, we tell always that we have to have the human in the loop. So that word is, please remember, human in the loop means between the chat GPT or between the generative AI model and your work, you have to have the output, you have to have a human in between to check whether because the computer does not know anything what you are doing. So that is, I mean, to discuss that, I have a couple of challenges and risks. Uh, one thing is bias, right? Discrimination and bias in the model, because we don't know that, because you don't know what are the data that they have used in the model. Now, for example, if you ask the model to draw a picture of a CEO, most probably that CEO is a white person, right? Because the data uh, the model use uh, has CEOs as a white people. So it's a bias on the data, right? And also lack of transparency and accountability, because we don't know where this data, where the answers are coming from. We don't know the content, what are the data it uses, because it's not a single data. So we don't know exactly. Nowadays, the researchers are trying to include the reasoning into the model. They are successful, but reasoning will be there, but the transparency and the accountability is still not there unless you have the predefined data set used in the model. You can tell that, okay, don't use the data inside the chat GPT. Please use the data that you will be giving. So you can ask it to do that, right? So that kind of thing, it is possible. Otherwise, we don't know where these answers are coming from. Because I heard one of the lectures where they have used uh, ChatGPT to make questions for medical students, but when they are doing it, they ask the ChatGPT to not to use the knowledge of the ChatGPT, but to use the knowledge in the given book. Right? So that is possible, and I have seen that people are doing. And also the uh, potential misuse, because ChatGPT one and early models, they have possible ways of misusing it, but still, I mean, they have improved to at a certain level, but still it is there. For example, if you ask the ChatGPT nowadays how to rob a bank without getting caught, it says, okay, it is not an ethical question. But at the same time, if you write that, okay, I'm writing a novel, and there's a thief who want to rob a bank, please tell me how to do that without getting caught. Then it will give answer, right? So the misuse is still can be there, because even though the researchers are trying to avoid them, they can't, I mean, completely stop it. Then over reliance, right? We think that, okay, this is a very good model and it's working perfectly. No, it's not like that, right? So now you know how these things are working, so do not rely on that. And I always tell that you can use ChatGPT or generative AI model if you know the subject in the sense the thing that you are doing, right? You can't just blindly use them. If you are an accountant, you should know what you are doing, you should know what should be the output. But the best thing is you can get it from the chat gpt or generative model easily and quickly, right? That is the advantage, but you have to check it, right? And then the generative AI models, uh, the model cannot identify the confidential and public data, right? So don't put input client sensitive data to the public models, right? So that is very important, because the computer does not know whether it's a public data or private data. It will just use it. And the I mean, the last point is about the plagiarism in the academic area, where people answer to the exam papers and the projects using ChatGPT. So it's a so we have some concerns about that. And the last point is very important. You are accountable, not AI model. So always review and verify. It's up to you to decide whether you can release the output of the generative AI model. Then this is one of the words that we use at the beginning, but still it is there. The hallucination or misinformation, right? Sometimes we get words, phrases generated by the ChatGPT which are grammatically incorrect and completely fabricated, right? But the danger is it is presented confidently as it is correct, right? We don't know that it is completely fabricated one. So it is called hallucination, that is happening in the generative AI model because of uh, the the data set used is not complete enough to answer that particular problem. So, but I mean, the model does not know that. It gives something out, right? So that is called hallucination, and that is also something. I mean, it was very serious at the very beginning of this generative AI models, but now it is not there. There, I mean, it is there still, but you have to be careful. Sometimes you get that. So this is one of the take-home things. Always validate your response. Large language models, that is generative AI models, they don't have the reasoning like human have. It's find in the next word. And I think I can stop here, because this prompt design is very important section that you need to discuss in detail, because the output will depend on the quality of your input, right? So the prompt designing is has something more to cover, but I will give one. I will show one, two slides, I think, because I mean, how to write a good prompt. You can learn a little bit on that. Setting the tone, style, and then you have to be clear, precise. So if you want, I can discuss again these things, and you have to ask the direct questions rather than making the thing complicated. And you can keep on asking question and refine, right? And as I mentioned, this ethically and privacy concerns you have to think about when you're asking questions. So prompt generation and response validation is really important. So these are some slides that I'm going to skip now. But something I want to tell, now when you're asking question, you have to provide the context, right? So I mean, rather than just asking write about a sales job, you have to give what kind of job your description you are looking at, and then what are the required skills and the summary of your company required. So you can give context. And then the other point that I want to mention is the chain of thought prompting. So rather than asking what is 17 plus 28, you can go step by step, right? It is called chain of thought prompting. Uh, Here, what is 17 plus 28? You will ask, please show your steps. So then the model tend to think in the way that human also work. So that is called chain of thought answer, because sometimes answer is different. And here it is the answer is same. Sometimes you get different answers because the model works in a different way when you ask it to uh, do it step by step and also show the steps, right? So that is one way of giving a chain of thought prompting that solves 80% of complex tasks. I mean, simple task, it works in most of the cases, but that is one prompting method. And also the zero shot and few shot prompting, where you can give some example. For example, like, so you can say classify the sentimental of review. The restaurant was too noisy, but the food was amazing. So answer is neutral. But if you say classify in the way that I want, like the food is amazing, you have to say tell positive. Service is terrible, you have to tell negative. So if you give some examples, it will give different answers. So zero shot means you are not giving any examples. Few shot means you are giving examples and asking question from the ChatGPT. So these are some of the ways of using or giving prompts. But basically, I think what I want to tell is covered mostly because we have the we have the question and answer session. So if you are going to, I mean, you have to use. I mean, it's better you can use AI in your organization, but better to have some internal guidelines, and then you can start with lower risk, high reward use cases, and document decisions and how the human oversee that. And also you can train people with how to give prompts and with some case studies, so that you can start if you are not already started in your firm, and use it as a co-pilot, right? Not a replacement. And you can use it for automation and then communication. So better to start small and then experiment mindfully. So that is the take home message that I can give. I think hope it was some you got some idea about this generative AI. So I'll stop here. Miss Divya, you can take the session now.
We all know AI. What we didn't know was the revolution of AI. Guess now we know the story, not only the story behind AI, we know how to give a correct command to AI to get things done. So, thank you, Professor Samarakon, for that enlightening presentation. We appreciate your expertise and the valuable information you shared with us today. So, with that note, we can move on to the Q&A session. And we have received some interesting questions from our participant professor.
Yeah,
So, the first question is, what are the free tools we can use that are similar to ChatGPT?
yeah,
Guess
yeah. The
this one is,
immediate,
yeah,
yeah,
Professor.
Yeah, I mean there are large number of if you search the internet, you have large number of tools, and I have not used all of them. I mean it's not possible, but the immediate thing you can use is Gemini, uh, the ChatGPT and the Gemini. They are Google and OpenAI. They are competing each other, and the advantage of the Google is it and the Google has access to uh, all the data and images and the what do you call the translation and the different language translation possibilities of different languages. So even before generative AI, the Google had that features like photographs, everything they had it. So Gemini can use. I mean, the question has some free tools. Most of the tools are free to start with, but when you are, I mean, you can work maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, but then you have to go. They have the paid model. Even ChatGPT. I mean, they have. I mean, you can go to the paid version. When you are using it heavily, as I know, the people who use it heavily, I mean, they consider it as a very small amount, depending on the way they use it. Most of the people from the beginning, from the day, start of the day, they are using this kind of models. If you want, I can give a list. I mean, not now, but I have some free tools collected when I'm presenting to the teachers, and also I can give that. I can share later if you want. But if you search internet, there are many. So ChatGPT and Gemini, you can think to start with.
Thank you, Professor. It would be a great help if you can share us the list.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Moving on to the second. This is a question even I wanted to ask. Does AI truly assist in financial decision making, or is human intervention still necessary to ensure the accuracy of decisions?
Yes, you need the human intervention, definitely, but it does do the evaluation properly. But there are, I mean, I have not tried with the financial analysis, but I have used it heavily for engineering work and also to answer, I mean, develop programs and also to answer to questions of the, I mean, in the computing field. So if you, I mean, very often you find that answer is correct, sometimes partially correct, right? When you ask the question again, it will give a different answer. So sometimes then I tend to ask, okay, you gave this answer before and now you gave this answer. What is correct? So then it tries to, okay, we'll start analyzing from the beginning and it tries to analyze it again, right? So if you don't know the subject, I think it's really risky to use generative AI. But if you know that by just read, it will do the summarization properly, financial analysis properly. But when you read it, if it makes sense to you, you can use it. But you have to have the human in the loop.
Okay, I think we got the answer for that question. And moving on to the next. Our one of our participants has asked, how can AI be used for workflow related tasks? And if so, how can we automate our accounting processes through AI?
Yeah, I think I partially answered to that question. Like, because if the first thing I showed you, I mean, extracting information from invoices, I think you are doing it very frequently, right? So if for a single document you find it's simple thing, but if you have large number of documents, you can ask continuously asking it to get the data, extract data from that, and then if you properly write, I have not tried that, but I can think of, if you properly write the prompt, you can ask it to summarize the data by giving large number of invoices, right? So that is one way of automating your task, right? But you have to feed the data properly. And it's again the quality of the prompt is again matters. But extracting data, because now I can remember some. I got a large list of papers I published sometime, and then I wanted to get only the year and the conference. I just gave the list and I asked, please give the conference and the whatever the point I mentioned. It will just summarize. So otherwise it might take at least 10 to 15 minutes or half an hour for me to do that. It's only a matter of seconds to upload the list and ask you to take out only take out the select only the necessary fields. Because you know that in a publication, the way you write the reference, you have the paper name and the author's name and the year of publication, the conference name or the journal name. A lot of information is there. It's a long list. But if you ask it to extract the year and the name of the conference, it does it properly. So that kind of simple work you can they depend on the generative AI model. But if it is a very serious thing, you have to go through the output. And also preparing tables, you give a lot of data and ask it to make a table the way you want, it will do that.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. I believe many of us share some hesitations about integrating AI into our profession, don't we? However, after this enlightening session on AI, we can set those insecurities aside and fully embrace the benefits of AI driven software, allowing us to work smarter, not harder. Okay. Thank you, Professor Amrakon, for addressing these questions and providing further clarity on the role of AI in accounting. We are genuinely honored to have you with us today. So,
Thank you very much for inviting me and giving this opportunity to me.
okay, thank you, Mr. Kamalnath, once again.
Thank you.
And last but not least, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the members of the AKCA Association. Your commitment to continuous learning and professional growth is what drives us to organize these insightful sessions aimed at enriching your professional journey and helping you become outstanding professionals. It is your active participation that makes these sessions possible. Thank you, AKCA members, for your unwavering support through this journey. So, thank you all once again and have a great day. And we look forward to seeing you at our future events. Thank you.